All right, so let's get back to your struggles. What about growing up? Did you face struggles growing up? Like, what is your?
Well, a big struggle that many people deal with growing up, and it's gained popularity and being talked about today. And, when you and I were coming up, I don't want to say people didn't care as much, but it's like, that's kids being kids.
Yeah.
And that was bullying.
Oh, that's right.
And so, all through school, there wasn't a time when someone wasn't attempting to bully me.
To bully you?
To bully me. And I say attempting because it's only bullying if it works, if it intimidates you, if it scares you, if it discourages you.
Oh, that's a good point.
But for me, it wasn't any of that. It wasn't intimidating, scary. It was motivating and fueling. Because if people are worried about you, all it means is that they see something in you that they don't think you see in yourself. In my case, I saw it in myself.
And you knew this back in high school or junior high school?
Elementary school.
Good Lord. Wow.
I've always liked myself. And so I wasn't one to listen to what anybody else said about me or tried to tell me about who I am because I had a good sense of self. But the bullying was nonstop. And I'm so glad that people speak up about it more now because I'll tell you, one of the most difficult things for me was when I was in middle school. And you know how kids save fights and stuff for the last day of school.
Yeah.
And there's a bridge with a bayou, and everyone used to have to walk home through that. It's making me emotional thinking about it because I'm thinking about a true friend that I had. And there was a plot to actually murder me, to stab me and push me in the bayou. And I had a friend, her name was Diana, and she didn't come to school that day. And I heard about the plot, but I didn't take it seriously because I just never, I always stayed above board.
Can I ask, how old? And
13.
And was it girls, boys that were planning on?
A girl and a boy.
Wow, go ahead.
And my friend, she had been so upset. She didn't come to school or anything, but she had told her mom. And her mom called police, and police called my mom, and my parents came and picked me up from school, and police came and all of that. And so this was a real thing. People had the knives, all of that. And just to know that you can want to hurt somebody, and especially with everything that you've seen in the news lately.
Yeah.
Just to know that you can want to actually take someone's life. Horrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horrifying. And that friend of mine, the day after, she and her mom came to my home, to check on me and make sure that I was okay or whatever. And her mom actually packed them up that summer, moved away, moved out of the city, out of the neighborhood, out of the city,
Wow.
and enrolled her in private school.
Wow. Wow. Holy cow. Okay, you say you were bullied most growing up. So I ask a question that's going to sound stupid because I'm not trying to give in any way that the bully's a reason. But there's always a reason. Sometimes a kid is small, right? So he's easy to bully on, or he's fat, so they make fun of him. Do you mind if I ask you why you think you were bullied on?
I was bullied because I'm exceptional.
Oh, that's right.
And I've always known that I was exceptional. I excelled at things. I had friends. Guys liked me, and that didn't mean the world to me. And so when you have self-esteem and you don't get your self-esteem from men or guys paying you attention, then that angers other people.
Wow.
And that can anger guys too if they like you and you're, just like avoidant of it or nonchalant, or you don't care because you're more into your studies and your books. And I hate to say what I'm about to say, but in certain communities, there's a thing of like, who do you think you are? because if you have been a part of a community where in society, you've been overlooked, oppressed, or things of that nature, then sometimes that community can take on that identity, and anyone that's not adhering to that identity is considered an outsider. And so you have to be mistreated, bullied, beaten down into your place so that you know who you are.
And can you continue on what you were just talking about? Because again, I think the average person doesn't think that.
It's true, the average person doesn't think that, but I've always known that were the case. And once again, I'm an observer. I've seen other people that were bullied before, and it didn't matter if they had something about them that other people identified as unfavorable. I could still see something in them that was exceptional, or where their gifts were, and I knew that the bullies just didn't ever want them to get enough self-esteem to discover that.
So talk about, you said the outsider. So the community takes on this, give me an idea of what you mean by that. The community takes on a persona or whatever, what?
Well, same thing as with society as a whole. You know, for hundreds and hundreds of years in our society, if you're a woman, then there are certain things that you are thought to be incapable of. And if you are, there have been times when people that suffer from developmental differences weren't given chances to live, full
Absolutely.
lives. And so the same thing with being a person of color. In communities of color, there are huge boundaries, and you're not supposed to think too much of yourself where you aren't adhering to what other people have told you these boundaries are. And unfortunately, your own community can take on what society has deemed to be the norm for your community of color and project that onto themselves and you as well. And if you're unwilling to accept that,
Right.
then.
Wow. Social media, because now everyone, like when I was a kid, when I was home, I was home. I had no idea what my friends were doing. Mm-hmm. They were on vacation, whatever. There was none of this stuff on. Now sometimes you see they were over here, they're over there, and as you get older, they got a brand new car, that stuff affects you. Even if you're like a guy, I'm not jealous, but when you constantly see it.
Right.
So do you see more issues today?
Oh my goodness, yes. Especially among like younger people that are growing up with this. And so the 20-somethings, and I love my 20-somethings, love them. But there is an epidemic right now of them believing that they should be at a certain place in my life.
Wow.
And I'm like, where should you be at 23
Exactly.
in your life? Why do you think you should be set in your career? Not that there's anyone that isn't, but it's kind of rare.
Yeah.
It's kind of rare. And if you're gainfully employed or you're in school pursuing your education or you're working every day, whether you're living at home or living on your own, you're right where you need to be. A lot of my 20-somethings, they're doing this thing where they're getting into plenty of debt because they're globetrotting. And you can't necessarily globetrot off of your job that you have when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
And so, I see a lot of that. Social media really impacts people a lot. And it tears down families too, because people get angry. They're like, my mom didn't like my kid's picture from the zoo.
Oh my God, wow.
But she liked my sister's kid's picture, that sort of thing. Yeah. I'm like, doesn't mean your mom doesn't love you. Doesn't mean she doesn't love your kids. Let people like what they like. Maybe the other people had more interesting photos. I don't know.
Or maybe like me, I don't see half the stuff on Facebook. I'll get on Facebook, I'll do a post or something. Sometimes I scroll, but most times I honestly don't even scroll. Yeah, I'm like, and again, I have friends that comment on my stuff all the time, so I'll go out to, I'm like, man, I haven't been to Joe's page, but I don't do that. So I may not like what you put, but I didn't even see it.
Or if you're not tech savvy and you're from a certain generation, I'm not tech savvy at all, and I'm from a certain generation. So I have to call people and say, hey, you had something on social media, but it flipped and then it was something else. So I didn't get to like it. Do you want to tell me how I can get back to it and like it? Because it was cute, but I don't know what to do.
That's great.
Yeah, because so social media, I think it is a powerful tool for a lot of good things, but it's a damaging tool for a lot of things too.
Yeah.